A very good evening, dear ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another live session with GETI or Global Education and Training Institute under the hashtag Disruptive Education Movement. I'm your host, Preena, back again with someone very special today, and she is none other than Mrs. Rashmi Dcunha, who is currently working as a principal at Tirth International School, Gujarat. She is a freelance motivational speaker for teachers and other professionals and contributing in this field of education from past 22 years. She has given her good time in this sector. And if I talk about her teaching experience, she has worked as a teacher for 10 years and was also a lecturer at B.Ed College and was also a part of the administration since 2010, served as vice principal, and as I told you, currently she is associated with Teeth International in the capacity of principal. Well, ma'am, Rashmi believes in quality education and believes that each child is different, and so our approach should be different to bring out the best from them. And today she has joined us to talk on something very important, that is life skills. A very warm welcome to you, ma'am, on this platform of GETI.
Thank you, Preena. Thank
And
you.
I think viewers all yours. Over to you.
Okay, thank you, Preena. And to start with, I just have this lovely quote from Shep Hicken. Make every intention count, even the small one. They all are relevant. And as he says, hello and a very good evening to all the members who are associated over here with us. I would like to welcome you all on this lovely session of life skill and integration for 21st century education. But before I start this, I would like to thank the team of GETI Global Education and Training Institute for taking up this lovely initiative of giving all people like me a platform wherein we can put forward our views and our ideas to bring out that change in education, to bring out that difference in education which makes education special, which makes education little different from the conventional style, and so that we can improve the education, the face of education, by just no changing the conventional style of teaching with our thought. I have been listening to so many principals and other educators who were associated with GETI, some of them talking about the peer pressure, some of them talking about the sort of communication skills we should have, others talking about CC, and there were so many things. Today there was a speaker who was talking about should detaining a child the right thing as to how we should bring a change in child. So there are so many viewers who are like, I should not use the word viewers, there are so many educators who are coming up with their own ideas of how the education should be, how we should like bring out these changes. And so from my side, we have this lovely session of life skills, and initially I'll be showing in some presentation which will be dealing about what are life skills and UNESCO's goals about overall education, and when and why were the life skill introduced in the Indian curriculum, the purpose of life skills, the benefit of life skills, and there are so many other things. So here I am. First, for 10 minutes, I'll be having with my presentation. Will that be okay, Preena? I'll be starting with the presentation, a quick thing, so that no, we can just go through it to what the things we are showing in.
Yes, ma'am. Sure,
Okay,
sure.
okay. So I move on with the presentation.
Yes, ma'am. You can.
Okay. Okay, Preena, is it visible? I'll just click on to from the beginning. Can you hear me, Preena?
Yes, ma'am. added.
Okay, so
It's
yeah, is the
should take a few
presentation
minutes
visible
to
enough?
come. It's still coming. Taking yes, now it is visible. Perfect.
Okay, so
You
the
can go ahead.
first slide is obviously the title slide, which deals with life skills, the skill required by our children to live a good life in 21st century. Okay, then we have, okay, what are life skills? I want your attention on this lovely Hindi songs which says, I remember it was from Raj Kapoor, which says that सब कुछ सीखा हमने ना सीखी होशियारी सच है दुनिया वालों कि हम हैं anadi. So as life skill means these skills are those which we can take wherever we go in life and no matter what we do. So life skills are any skills you need to manage your activities and challenges of everyday life effectively, or in other words, life skill is a term used to describe the basic skills acquired through learning or through direct life experiences. They allow you to handle almost everything better than from processing your emotions and more effectively to interacting with the others. So this was all about my definition about what is lifestyle. Moving on to the next thing. When I was going through as to what are life skills, I wanted to know as to are they really important, and I went through this paper which was no given up by in one of the journals of UNESCO, which says that education for all, that is EFA, point number 3 and 4, aims at overall development of children in the following way. Number one, it ensures that learning needs are met through life skill programs, and number two, improving all aspects of the quality of education and ensuring the excellence of all, so that recognized and measurable learning outcomes are achieved by all, especially in literacy, numerics, and essential life skills. So, this was UNESCO's idea about all the life goals, wherein indirectly they have stated that life skills are very important for the children. It's not just the literary things or the numerics that the child should know, but a child should also know as to how to handle himself. So moving on to the next slide, which is for why and where life skills were included in Indian curriculum. Now that was UNESCO's idea about the overall education in
Uh,
India. Yes,
Ma'am, I'm
Prina.
so sorry
Yes,
to interrupt.
yes.
The slides are not changing. I'm so sorry to interrupt. The slides are not changing.
Okay, where are you right now? On which slide?
We are on the first slide. We are on the first slide. Still on the first slide.
Okay. Can you see now?
No, ma'am, it's not. Maybe you can select the slide and then
Okay,
change.
okay, okay. So we better move on to the initial process of slide showing so that I can like know. Okay, the first slide is seen. Okay,
This is the first slide. Yeah,
yeah, I'll just move on to the second slide. Second slide. Just a second. Can you see now, Preena?
Yes, ma'am. Perfect. Perfect.
Okay,
Yes, ma'am.
perfect. Can you see? So I'm sorry,
Yes.
viewers,
Yes.
because of these technical errors, which are a part of the virtual life today. I'll be starting all over again, but in a short form. What are life skills? Life skills are anything that you need to manage your activities and challenges of everyday life effectively. In other words, life skill is a term that is used to describe the basic skills acquired through learning. That means the skills which are required to lead a good life, which are very important now. So we have the third slide. Prina, just guide me if let me know if you are not able to see the third slide. Okay, can you see now? It is
We're still
working.
on the second. What is life skill?
I have moved on to the third slide, UNESCO's education for all.
Now it's visible.
Can you
It's
see it?
taking
It's
little time, but
yeah.
yes, now it's visible. Yes, yes.
Okay. Okay. So we move on to the third slide, that is UNESCO's education. As I said, that it is all about point number one, that we ensure that learning needs are met through life skill programs. And UNESCO says that improving all aspects of the quality of education and ensuring the excellence of all, so that recognized and measurable learning outcomes are achieved by all, especially in literacy, numerics, and essential life skill. Now, you may be very good at maths, or you may be very good at the written part of the language, but when it comes to practical life, we all get stuck up. That is what life skill is all about, that utilizing our knowledge into the practical part. That was UNESCO's goal for education. Now, moving on to the fourth slide. It would take some time. I think the fourth slide is on, right? Why were life skills included in Indian curriculum? Preena, is the fourth slide available to you?
Yes, ma'am, it's visible. If at all there will be any problem, I will let you know. No
Okay,
problem. Keep
okay,
going, ma'am.
okay,
Great.
okay. So we move on without any problem. Why were life skill included in Indian curriculum? So life skill made its entry in the Indian education system way back in 2003. As we all know that recently also the government has come up with the national policy of education, which probably will take another 2 years. So this was something which was done in 2003 when we were working on the CCE part of education, that is continuous comprehensive education. It was during that time that the center thought that as a part of the overall development, as a part of the overall assessment of the child, let life skills become an integral part of the education. So it was all about learning the treasure within each child. As I believe that each child is different. So every child has his or her own capacity, and that is all about learning the treasure within. We believe in learning to know, learning to be, learning to do, and learning to live together. These were the four pillars about how the Indian education authorities felt that we should try to inculcate the life skill in this way so as to bring out the best from each child. Moving on further, to sum up, as I feel, okay, as I have given you a background about life skill. So, what was the real purpose of life skill? It was to remove your stage fear, to develop a positive social skill and etiquettes, and to develop work ethics, learn a job, or learn about the assignment which is given to you, listen, speak, and understand the literally part of it, and become self confident. So these were the other objectives of life skill. As we as teachers, we take into consideration point number green, that is given in remove the stage fear, becoming self confident, and developing the language, developing a positive social skill and etiquette, and developing how to communicate with the society and how to communicate with your team. So these were few objectives of life skills. Moving on further, uh, if we move. So when I talk about life skills, the life skills concept, I feel, according to me, made education from survival and income generation, because in previous time we felt that education was only the thing which was helping you to just get a good job and get your income generation and have a good livelihood. That was all. So from that it shifted to the overall development and participation in daily life. That was the change which was brought about by introducing life skill in our curriculum. Now, moving on further, this is the thing which I feel, what are life skill essential for? This is what which I will be dealing more after I finish off with my presentation in another 5 minutes. I will be dealing more of this thing, that is, what is it essential for? Life skill brings together our social, emotional, and cognitive capacities to problem solve and achieve the goals. So, the few life skill essential, I should say, ingredients, or I should say, the points which are required from all the students, from which are required in assessing a child, is how he or she deals in problem solving, how he or she is able to make decision, or is able to revert or reserve himself from peer pressure, how the children are able to think critically, how they are able to think creatively, and how do they develop their communication skill. These five were the most important pillars of life skills. And moving on to few other points, that was self awareness or developing an identity. This is something which most of us have a problem with. And then to have stress management or empathy. And then number 8 was interpersonal relationship or building relationship. And number 9 was coping with emotion or managing with emotion. These are few points, or these are few pillars which I feel are very essential for assessing any child, or to bring out the best in any child. These are few things which we will be discussing in the later part of our face-to-face interaction. And then we have the benefits. These are some of the things which I am already discussing now, but we will be discussing later on also. As I told you, when we talk about life skills, these are skills, as I told you, which help you to make up a very different person. So they somehow or the other makes the child concerned about the welfare of others. So the children, they start thinking about others first rather than me, and myself. And then they allow the child to clearly articulate their opinions. As I just said, that they help the child to change and to modulate their opinions and arguments. And then it builds confidence in both spoken skills and group collaboration. It finds new ways of problem solving, analyzes options, make decisions, and understand why we make certain choices, and develops the habit to appreciate others and self. Moving on further. So till here, we were into the presentation part. Moving back, I will be shifting back to Preena for the face-to-face session, wherein I felt this was just a warm-up session, and the presentation part was already up, and now we move on to my session, the personal session, where I felt was more important than the presentation. So here we are. We'll be discussing, as I said, that life skills, as I told you, are very important. These are those skills which help you to deal with or cope up with your daily life problems. We may have given a child ample number of education. We may have given children about beautiful mathematical skill, linguistic skills, but at times we do find that children lack something or the other, wherein they are not able to come up in their life. And to break up that shell, we need to work on life skill. So moving on to my point, wherein I said that I will be dealing with another 8 to 10 points which are very important for us to understand that what exactly are life skill. As we say in Hindi, life means jeevan, and skills means I should say kaushal or a tarika. So it's about how you live your life with the amount of knowledge and with the amount of education you have. There we have seen in our life that there are people who might be very simple. There are people who might not have been educated as I or you are, but They can do certain calculation within seconds. They have very great opinions about themselves. They are very clear in their mind. They can take decisions in fractions. So these are some things which make us to understand why we being so educated are not able to be to their life. So we just would like to come up back to my own session, where I feel that that is what, of course, the presentation I made was good, but the points, I got a comment also, but then the points which are very important, and I believe that we are not just teachers. We are not just teachers. We are the managers of the world's greatest resource, that is children. So we should know how to manage them, how to manage this beautiful wealth which is being handed over to us. And so the following 9 areas we as educator should be needing to focus on. Point number one, that is problem solving. As I said previously also, that this is something which is nowadays very important. Children do come up or do feel that there are times when they don't have an outlet of their problems or the anxieties and fears which they are having. So a teacher in that way has to analyze the child and to see that whether a particular child, or whether the class, or on the school overall as we take, the children are able to solve their basic problems. Even when we take our report cards, we have this very simple things that, oh, you are not able to do this simple thing, you are not able to say this much, you are not able to do this thing. So this is what is happening, that the child should be able to solve his or her basic problems, not the problems of maths or not the problems of life, but the basic problems, say some emotional or mental or physical problems if the children are having, they should be able to solve themselves. If not solved, they should be able to take right guidance from the teachers or the concerned authorities, also involving the parents. In case the problems are grievous, then at times the children do take up to I should say a wrong path, or they end up into taking advices from negative sources. So we as teachers play a very important role in helping the children to solve their own problem. When we move on to point number two, as I said, life skills helps children to make their own decisions. It is like, no, at times when children maybe say in 10th and 12th, as we are these are the 2 points wherein they have to take some decisions about their life. So they should be able to have a very clear idea as to what do I want in life. It should not be that they are being influenced by the other sources, they are being influenced by media, they are being influenced by peers. So this should not be there. A child on its own should be able to realize as to what I have to do in life. I have to be very clear. So that is how he or she will be able to know, help, and to bring up the real personality or the real person about himself or herself. So if you yourself are taking decisions, of course it is advisable to take advices from your well wishers, like your parents, your good friends, I should say, who really care for you. Of course, that is very important. But at the end of the day, it is the child who should be able to make proper decisions as to what he or she wants in life. Moving on to third, when I talk about critical thinking, what is critical thinking? To analyze the things and to see what exactly it is. It is thinking beyond the box, is called as critical thinking, not going in normal direction wherein everybody goes, just to bring out, okay, the X factor also, that I say is critical thinking. This is also very important in judging a child. When we as educators or teachers, we assess the child, this point is also very important, that whether the child is able to analyze things on his or her perspective, are they able to do the things properly. Okay, so that is what is called as critical thinking. Again, we have point number 4, that is creative thinking. So, creative thinking is, yes, thinking in a much more aesthetic way, in a much more creative style, in a much more other way. So, this is called as creative thinking. When you think, first I said critical thinking, that is thinking beyond the box. And when we say creative thinking, creative thinking means, okay, this thing can be done in this way also, to add that aesthetic and to add that beauty in a particular thing. That is called as creative thinking. When you talk about dramatics, when you talk about drawings, when you talk about beauty, when you talk about paintings, there is where, when you talk about poem writing, when you talk about singing and dancing, that is where these skills you can clearly analyze in a child, which are called as creative, or no, the creative aspect, the essence which is added, the beautiful part which is added. So these are those type of children who have that, no, you can bring, put them into the category of directors and producers and fashion designers. These are those type of children who have that inclination towards the artistic side. Then we have communication skill. This is something which is very important, and personally a very dear part to me, because I believe if a child is able to convey his or her own feelings or thoughts very clearly in whichever language, I feel that child has made a mark on the other. Because the other day I was just going through some quotations, and there I felt that things untold remains covered. Things untold remain covered. So when you don't speak, when you don't communicate, when you don't talk, you talk with your parents, you talk with your teachers, with your friends, or anybody. When you don't do that, you really are trying to cover up or hide behind that bar of silence. So it is very important that we as teachers encourage our children to communicate in a right way, communicate in proper language, communicate with proper body gestures, with proper body language. That is very important. Sometimes it so happens that when we have two types of communication, that is verbal and non-verbal. So sometimes it so happens that our non-verbal communication sends at times some sort of positive as well as negative messages also. So it is very important that we teach our children that communication skills are a part of your personality. You need to communicate, you need to talk. Our children today are, since we are not physically in school, so most of the time they are associated with the mobiles, they are associated with games, so their communication skills are somewhere being, no, pushed down. Their other skills might be coming up, but communication has become very less. That is because we do not set an example for them. We in a family just try to analyze how much time do we communicate with our family members. Leave aside talking on phone, leave aside talking on mobiles, you may have ample number of time for all those things. But when we talk about personally about all those things, we really have to teach our children to be more communicative. Then there is one more point which is very important, that is self awareness or creating an identity. Self awareness, that is, what am I and what is my strength? This is something I feel that we as teachers, we as educators should and 100% should try to inculcate in each and every child. As I said previously, that I believe in the motto that each and every child is different. Each and every child has got their own different way of understanding, their own different skills, their own different capacities. If we judge, it is most of the time said, if we judge an elephant by its capacity to swim, by comparing it with a fish, the poor elephant will never know that what is his strength. So that is what I feel, that it is very important that we as educators should always make our children self aware. no, you are something, you are good, telling or humiliating. And also at the same time, we as educator should make it a point to try and bring out if anybody in our circle or in our class or in our school is being bullied upon, is being made up to something wherein the child is slowly losing his or her own identity, is trying to copy the others. That is something we should try to avoid. We should create an identity of our own. We should help the child to create his or her own identity. And then, when I said managing empathies and emotion, at times it is, yes, it is very good to let your emotions out, to let yourself being portrayed as, okay, I'm soft. It's very good. It's not that, oh, why you are crying, you are such a snobbish child. No, it's something we should encourage. Okay, let your emotions out, because if you are bottling up the emotions, these emotions may show an outburst in somewhere or the other means. So it's better that we as educators, we as guide, we as mentors help the children to train their emotions in such a way that they know how to control their emotions. Sudden fear, sudden anxiety, sudden rush of anger, which is very important nowadays. The children are getting mentally stressed, and so they release their anger, which is a part of the life skill. When I say stress management, also I tell stress. I was talking to one of my students day before yesterday, and the poor child, he was just telling, oh, I'm so stressed, I don't know what to do. So I just asked him, Baba, what is stress? So he said tension. I said, what is tension? So the child could not understand. So we as the guardian angel, I should say, to be at their side, should help them to change their emotions in a way where they are able to reduce the stress by proper planning, by proper execution, by proper evaluation. So these are some things wherein I felt that yes, life skills has its role in these 8 to 9 areas. And so these were my points wherein I feel that I have made myself pretty clear about what life skills were and how they are important. What are the 9 points on which we should analyze and judge our children as to whether they are moving in the right direction, whether their life is being taken care by these skills also. It is very good if our children are mathematically strong, they are scientifically strong, but yes, if they do not have life skills, they will never be able to come up in life, because somewhere or the other it will hamper, it will cause a negative effect on their life. So this was about my whole session of life skill. And now I would like to jump on again to the last two slides of my presentations which were left. So Preena, would you just bear with me for 1 second? I would love to share my screen for my last two slides which were there, and I would need your approval as to whether you are able to see them or not. Just a second, Preena. Okay, Preena, are you able to see the slide? Children are the future.
Yes, ma'am.
Hello,
Yes,
Preena.
yes. Please continue.
Yeah, this slide would be visible, I
Yes,
suppose.
ma'am. It's
Children are
visible.
our future. Okay, so it's as I wrote over here. I don't know what is in the future, but I know who owns it. I repeat, I don't know what is in the future, but I know who holds the future. So today, as I close my door to the past and open the door to the future, take a deep breath, step through, and start a new chapter of our life. We as educator, as I started my session with the quotation that we are the managers of the greatest resource of the world, that is children. So children are our future, and if we do not tackle, we do not deal with the present problem, we will be putting their future into a bit darker side. So please, I request all my friends that just try to analyze the children as to what their relative or what their life skills are. And moving on to my last slide, just a second. This is my last slide, wherein I would like to say a beautiful thank you to everybody. And again, I'm a person who always believes that quotations and thoughts are very important. So instead of talking too much, I always portray my emotions through beautiful sayings. So here is one more beautiful quote: "A beautiful heart is better than thousand beautiful faces." So choose people having beautiful heart rather than beautiful faces. So I would just like to thank the audience, and moving back to my regular session with you, Preena. I hope the presentation was pretty presentable enough and pretty clear enough to all my viewers. Thanks a lot, Preena. Thanks a lot to the team of Global Educational Training Institute for giving me this platform to come up with my views about this beautiful topic, life skill. It has been lovely talking about and dealing with this session. So it's all over to you, Preena. I hope I have made the point very clear to the audience. Thank you, audience. Thank you, Preena.
Thank you so much, ma'am. I think it's a pleasure having you here with us on this platform of Getty and talking
Yeah.
on something very important, that is life skills, that you clearly explain with those 9 points. I think
Okay.
if we talk about the most basic way, it's just anything and everything that a child can do or anybody can do by himself or herself.
Yeah,
And that is
it is an
useful,
important aspect of children as well as
absolutely.
we.
For anybody, absolutely.
Yes, yes,
So I think we can talk about from a very basic thing, tying your shoelaces or driving a
yes,
car or
yes, yes,
anything that is
yes, yes.
that
Uh,
can be
uh,
useful in our life.
Here, I would just like to tell you that we have designed our own pre-primary evaluation cards. So this, therein, these cards are say around 6 to 7 pages. So the parents, they rarely look into those last 6 7 pages, which have so many things. These are all that no nicks and bits about life skills only: opening of drawers, tying of shoelaces, walking in straight line,
Right, right.
communication, socializing. So
Hmm.
these are all part and parcel of life skills.
Absolutely.
So
I think it's very important, and somewhere we find there is a lack of life skills somewhere. We still need to work a lot towards it.
it is
And
really required. It is
yes,
really required.
because it helps the students to take action in situations where they don't have anybody around, be it their parents or teachers or anybody else. They can decide themselves. The 9 points you covered about critical thinking, problem solving, sympathy, empathy, there is so much to talk on. And we can, you know just pass on this message to the parents, not to just judge your kids on the basis of their marks, but we really
Yes.
need to focus on these life skills.
Yes,
Life
because
skills,
what happens
yeah,
is, sorry to interrupt you,
no
Preena.
problem.
What
Yeah,
happens is that we focus so much upon the other skills that we fail to analyze as to what is my child really developing, or he is just
absolutely.
being a copied portion of somebody else. So that is
Right.
where the child is not able to understand. No, he is just slogging and slogging and slogging, and he's not able to come up with the real himself or herself. So that
Hmm.
is something which will take time. And
It will.
yes, with the
Yeah.
new type of education policy which has come up, which is more, as they say, that more about child centered and more about
Child
skill
centered.
based skill based educational policy. They are trying to integrate different courses
Mhm.
and all these things. So let us hope that yes, this part also plays an important aspect for the 21st century education.
Absolutely. And we really need to think it's very important for us to understand, to experience the kind of pressure the children face, these kids in
That's
school.
yes, yes.
We should not put on the additional pressure on them, and not to be surprised by their behaviors, because we are focusing only on one thing. We need to
Yes.
understand the challenges the children are going through, and maybe then we can come up with common solution for them that is definitely going to help them in develop overall.
Because what happens is directly or indirectly, these skills are connected to your academic skills. If you are
Absolutely.
not able to conquer these skills, somewhere or the other, they are going to affect your academics also, and in other ways for other people, your behavior, your life also. So you do need to
Yes.
focus on these things
These
also.
also, yes, not only the bookish language, or not only the
Yes,
marks, not
yes,
only the
yes,
report
yes,
cards, but I
yes,
think overall development is very important, and
yes,
especially in these
yes.
tough times these days when we all are sailing in the same boat. I think we can teach them how to cope with such difficult
Yes, yes,
situation,
yes,
how to
yes.
deal with it.
It's really important. It's really important. You set an example for them, and obviously, yes, you are. We as teachers are the role models.
Yeah.
They may not open up with the parents. They may
Hmm.
not open up with their relatives, or but sometimes they do open up with the teachers. So yes,
Yes.
we do play an important role in their lives.
Absolutely. I think together we all can. That's what I believe it. Together we
Yes.
all can. And I can see some comments in the comment box. I'll just highlight for you. So I think it
Okay,
was
there's
overall a wonderful session.
yeah, there's somebody from Anoop. Anoop something is written, I think. Anoop Baluni, Dr. Anoop Baluni. He's the
Yeah.
Associated Professor for Faculty of
Join your
Education.
session. Yes, yes.
Okay. So,
And I think overall it was a wonderful session. Thank you so much, ma'am, for
Before
joining
I
us.
forget, I could never complete my session without you, Preena. So loads and loads, and a big ton of thanks to you for taking your precious time out and helping people like no, I would not say people like us, but yes, in a way, people like us who are not very digitally connected. So yes, it is really a good effort which you and your team are taking, since I have been associated with you for a good amount of 15, 20 days.
Yes,
So I
yes.
would really love to thank you personally. Have a
Pleasure,
wonderful
ma'am.
life, and
Thank you.
do keep up with all these new initiatives so as to bring out some or the other beautiful change. So let's hope to meet you soon.
For sure, we will definitely connect soon. With some other interesting topic to talk on. And yes, it's a pleasure, ma'am. It's a pleasure to have you here. Thank you so very
My
much.
pleasure. Thank
And
you.
thanks to all the viewers for joining in. And yes, keep waiting. We'll be back soon as a team together, me and Rashmi ma'am for sure.
So
So
once
yeah,
again, we say together, stay safe, stay
stay
at home,
safe, stay at
and
home.
enjoy life as to how it comes over. We will sail through it, as
Absolutely.
Pina said. Okay, so it's adieu from my side.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you. We'll see you soon.
Thank you,
Take
Pina.
care. Bye.